Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here. And as you can see, I'm not alone. I'm joined by Felix. Look at him.
Hello there, lovely people. It's Felix from Nintendo Life here. And as you can see, I'm not alone. I'm joined by the wonderful Alex.
Let's stop that now. That's bizarre. I've never heard you do that before. So, yeah, we had a bit of a revelation earlier this week. With all the hubbub and the hype of the Switch 2 and stuff like that, we had completely forgotten that this is the year that Super Mario Bros. Turns 40. Like, anniversaries have come up before, well, pretty much every year, arguably, but Nintendo celebrates them every 5th year as of the 20th, I believe, as in the 20th
With
anniversary.
Mario specifically, yes.
Yes. And I hate to admit that I've been around for 2 of those anniversaries, and I'm about to be experiencing the 3rd. Because it's come out of nowhere. I mean, if you'd stop and thought about it for a moment, and there may well be people in the comments going, well, obviously, and if so, thanks for clicking anyway. Yeah, it's obvious if you stop and think about it, but with everything else going on, we just forgot. It's not something that's been at the forefront of our mind. And Nintendo, they do some serious stuff, don't they, for this sort of thing?
In the past, I mean, especially 5 years ago. We'll go into detail what they've done so we can look at, what can we maybe expect this year? But yeah, it is really cool to see them actually doing something on the anniversary of the big man Mario himself. And I think it just kind of, to me, it switched too. So I just completely did not think about it as we're all just waiting for the next console at this anniversary. Well, it is also, I mean, in the start of the year, so usually they start doing stuff later. But what are some stuff they've done in the past, Alex?
Well, why don't we go through it sequentially? We're not going to go through everything, and you could argue that certain things were just happenstance, but the only, for the 20th is the first time they seem to, at least as far as we can tell, properly acknowledge it. They may have done internally, I don't know, only Nintendo knows, but they had the Famicom Game Boy Micro, which is one of the most sought after now. It is gorgeous. They also had the Famicom Mini release of Super Mario Bros. So that was just... We had them over here as well. They were just like NES games that were released on Game Boy Advance games. Cartridges for... I seem to remember full price. I don't know that for certain. I remember seeing them and going, that's a lot for a NES game. Even back in the day when I was a lot younger, I thought that way. But that was it for the 20th, I believe, unless you've got something I don't know, Mr. Felix.
I don't have anything on the 20th specifically. My notes is mostly a bit later.
It was a muted celebration, but the 25th was a lot bigger, sort of. We got Super Mario All-Stars Limited Edition. Super Mario, I mean, it was basically the same SNES game released on the Wii. And fun fact about this, the game was so small, you could put the disc in, and then when it loaded up, you could take the disc out, and it wouldn't close because the whole thing was so small. It just loaded the whole thing into the RAM.
That's really cool, actually.
Didn't need the disc. They didn't advertise that fact. I think it was more a kind of...
need the disc.
More of a sort of Nintendo were charging, sort of what they charged for a Wii game, but for a SNES game, so small, I never bought this game because I didn't have a Wii at the time. I know. Hound me to the ends of the earth.
Wowzers trousers. Was there anything else that happened on the 25th?
Not as far as... Nothing notable, anyway. I don't want to be going through every single little thing. But there was the 30th anniversary, and this was a lot bigger. Yes. I didn't realize I knew so much about this one, but this was when Super Mario Maker was announced and released and stuff like that.
I feel like that was a pretty big deal.
It was a big deal. It was, I remember it being, that was like a really successful time for the time for us on the channel as well, because it was just like, I say us, me on the channel at the time, because there wasn't that much to talk about. Wii U wasn't doing that well. And then suddenly Super Mario Maker and people cared, It was a big deal. But that was pretty much it. So, a big deal, don't get me wrong, but nothing else major on the 30th. Am I wrong?
There was also some amiibos, 8-bit Mario amiibo.
Yeah, that's more sort of... I mean, yeah, maybe that counts. It's not in my notes, so it didn't happen.
Okay, yes.
But then, 5 years ago, we had the biggie. And
Yes.
I don't know why this one was so particularly big, but we even got a specific direct, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We got a direct, but we also got stuff announced, like Mario-related stuff early in the year. For example, there was Lego Mario.
Yeah.
That feels like longer time ago in my mind. I don't know why that. 5 years? Huh? And
It
Paper
feels
Mario,
more recent to me.
Yeah,
like it feels
I
like it
don't
was
know,
2
it's-
years ago or something.
It's funny how time works. And we also
It
got Paper
is.
Mario Origami King, which was just like a shadow drop. Whoop, here it is. It's yeah.
Well, it was more of a shadow announcement. It wasn't a shadow drop per
Yeah,
se.
shadow drop announcement. I omitted the last part accidentally.
No, you did it on purpose to get comments. I know. I know.
Yeah,
your game.
yeah. People stopped the video right when I said it and just went down to the comments. But yeah, the big thing was the 35th Mario Direct, which there was some stuff that had been ruminating, like a 3D, All-Stars 3D, oh my god, double 3D, 6D. What's a D?
Or would it be
Double D.
times by 3? Would it be 90?
90.
90.
Wow, content here.
And they say that there are like 12 dimensions or something. I don't know. Yeah. Well, let's not focus on that part. Let's talk about the 3D All-Stars because, yeah, that was, if anyone doesn't remember, just very quickly, that was Mario 64, Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. I nearly said 3D World for some reason. I've still got 3D on the brain. That's the problem. And yeah, it was an interesting release. They said it would only be available for a short time. And actually, as I was doing research for this, I noticed that the price of this has actually gone up more than I would expect, like on the secondhand market. But whoa, and he's got one.
It took me way too long to find. I don't know. I was stressing. I was like, no, I need to find it now. Yeah, they released this. I remember going to the store and picking it up. And it's really weird. It was only available for like a short available, like just not a lot of time. They were like, yeah, we're pulling it. That was very weird. Because it is a good collection.
Yeah, it's all right. You know, sort of there are some reservations that people have about it, and I think that's fair. I think they were charging a lot, and the whole sort of limited release window was weird, but that wasn't the only thing we got on the 35th, was it? It was also when we got Super Mario Bros. 35, which I still mourn because that was good fun.
I didn't play it as much as I'd like to. It was kind of the thing that I booted up. It's like, oh, that was fun. And I just didn't touch it again until it was too late. It's like, that's a shame. But yeah, it was good fun. Again, one of those things that they just pulled away. But did you play that a lot, Alex, then?
Well, admittedly, I didn't play it a lot, but I still feel robbed because it was really good fun when I played it. And it would be nice to just go back and sort of hop on and go, hey, let's play a bit of that. And, you know, they've done a number of these number games, you know, obviously like Tetris 99 and stuff like that, which is still going. They did Pac-Man as well. I can't remember what the number was.
99?
Was it 99? Yeah. I don't think that exists anymore. I think
no,
they
that closed
canned
down
it.
too.
Yeah.
Which I really like that. I played that a lot. I got a lot of first bases. I found like a tactic where you would just go like around in a corner and yeah, it just worked really well. And then of course F-Zero 99. Played that a lot. That was great. So
Yeah.
maybe we'll get Mario 40. Super
Maybe.
Mario 40.
I don't know. It doesn't quite have the same sort of bizarre ring to it as Super Mario Bros. 35. But yeah, the 40th anniversary. What can we expect? Well,
Hey, no. We're not done. We also got Bowser's Fury.
was that a
was also-
35th thing?
Yeah, it was like we got Mario, 3D Land World. I don't know my mind.
3D World.
Yes, we
And
got
Bowser's
3D
Fury,
World
yeah.
and Bowser's Fury. That was also that direct. So,
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they really did a lot. They really went all out with the 35th compared to previous years.
Actually, it started out with Game Boy and Game & Watch Mario edition. Which,
Oh, yeah. I've got that.
then we got the 3D World, which was, I mean, I was really happy to see that because I didn't have a Wii U. So yeah, finally I can play it. And then we also had Bowser's Fury. But that was not the only thing, Alex. We also got the Mario Kart Home Circuit thing. That was also there.
Yeah, that was another thing. Good Lord.
Yeah, they did a lot of stuff in 16
I
minutes.
found
Just the
it.
last. Oh wow.
I'm going to see whether it powers. I haven't turned this on in years, so it's going to be interesting to see whether it's still got battery.
Probably not.
Probably not. Sad times.
Game & Watch is dead.
It's dead. I honestly thought it would turn on. My DS turned on when I hadn't turned it on in like
That's
4
impressive.
years or something. Suffice it to say, 35th was a big, spicy time So we've got the 40th to look at now.
Yes.
And the 40th, I don't necessarily imagine it's going to be as big. I think Nintendo are capitalizing on, sort of the huge Switch user base and stuff like that. But I still think we can expect some stuff. What that's going to be, God only knows, to be honest. There's so many things they could do. Super Mario Maker 3 is an obvious one. I think I've already predicted that in a previous video, especially considering, sort of with the supposed mouse mode of the Switch 2 Joy-Con and things like that. I say that a lot in videos, I've noticed, when I don't know how to finish a sentence. I say, and things like that.
And things like that, yeah.
A little insight into Alex's mind.
It's going to be good with... I could definitely see that being a thing to capitalize, like you say, on the mouse mode, if that is indeed the thing. We also got Mario Kart, of course. That is pretty big.
It's almost guaranteed to be coming. It may even be a launch game. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. But if it wasn't, I can see it being part of the 40th anniversary, because they tend to do the anniversaries, as far as I can tell, towards the end of the year, because the original game, Super Mario Bros., was released in September in 1985. So I imagine it's going to be around about that time. Maybe we'll get a direct then. Maybe we'll get a direct before. But as you mentioned, they announced and released other stuff arguably tied to the 35th anniversary earlier in the year and before the direct. So never say die.
One thing I would love to see is a new Paper Mario game. 'Cause they did Origami King back in the day, and then they did Thousand Year Door recently. And I'm hoping that they saw, okay, because Thousand Year Door is still selling well, according to what Nintendo is saying. I'm hoping that they were releasing that because they're releasing a new game in the same style as that. Wouldn't that just be something? Going back to the good old days. I don't know, it's been 5 years since we got the last, original one. So it would just be cool to see. But, we're not getting a Mario Luigi game because that is very recent. Not that we were thinking we ever got one.
Very recent.
Thought it was, Mario Sports game is probably what I would... that could also be a thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I sort of forget about the sports games because they had, the golf game on Switch, Super Rush, and they had tennis. And they were fine games, but they were also kind of forgettable at the same time. I keep forgetting that they were Switch games. I do remember, was it Power Smash? Ultra Smash on Wii U, because... that was so poor. That was rubbish. So, is it better to be forgettable or really, really bad? I think in Nintendo's eyes,
the same with Battle League. That also kind of came and went. Yeah,
I really like that because I reviewed that and I really enjoyed it. But then when the review was over, I found that I just stopped thinking about it. And I don't know whether I was swept up in stuff at the time, but, it's, Strikers, I've always really enjoyed Strikers, and I thought that, this is possibly one of the best ones yet, but, I've just forgotten about it since then, which is indicative of something at the very least.
So the question is, if they do a sports game, what sports game do you think they will do?
I think they'll probably do a golf game, again, to be honest.
Again?
Yeah.
They did golf after tennis. Don't you think they would do tennis?
Maybe, but I don't know. Is there anything to tie in? I mean, Wimbledon happens every year, doesn't it? I should know this. My mother-in-law's mad into tennis.
You know what I would love to see? It's a basketball game, Mario Hoops 3-on-3, and then you can use the mouse thing because it's touch control. You need to touch, then you would kind of click. Tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, there's cool. The thing is that in theory they could do anything. I know a lot of people are asking for Sluggers. The baseball game. I've never played it. Baseball is not my ball, is not my bag, is what I think I meant to say.
Baseball isn't that big over here.
No, in Europe it's not really a thing, as much as they like to call things the World Series. Or is that American football? I don't know, but they call it the World Series and no one else is invited. Read into that what you will. But, I think a sports game is definitely a fair shout. I don't know. I feel like that there's going to be something. 3D Mario is always a possibility. But
yes,
I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks, are they going to do some sort of like how Mario 35, it was, Super Mario Bros. As you know it, but also really different. Are they going to do some sort of twist like that? But is it going to be the original Super Mario Bros? Is it going to be 3 World? You know, they've kind of done everything that I can immediately think of. That doesn't mean that there's other stuff they couldn't do, but I mean good things. You know, sort of we've got Mario Maker, which kind of leans into that, and I mentioned that I think Mario Maker 3, it makes sense because Mario Maker 2 was kind of like, hey, Mario Maker 1 was a huge success, let's bring it to the Switch, it'll be just as much a success, and I imagine it was. It probably did better numbers, but I think the critical response wasn't quite as superb just because it wasn't as new. It wasn't as new and exciting, and I think long-term users weren't as substantial.
No, I think you're right. But I want to circle back to a 3D Mario. I definitely think we could see one either this year or next year. But since it's Mario's 40th anniversary, it just feels right that they would come out with the biggest Mario game that you can come out with. It's been, my God, in September, it's been 8 years since Mario Odyssey came out. See, they've been working on something in that time. Something great. I don't know if it's going to be Odyssey 2. Honestly, I don't think so. I think it's going to be something completely new.
Yeah.
I know people do want Mario Odyssey 2. I would love some Mario Odyssey 2. And it would be easiest for them. But if they want to make something completely new to really grab people, they could just be like, hey, yeah, we made that game. That's fine. Now we're making a new one like they've done in the past with Mario 64, then Sunshine, then Galaxy. I would like to see them reinvent the wheel once again. But I also would be so freaking stoked for Odyssey 2.
Yeah, I don't foresee Odyssey 2 personally, because they don't tend to sort of sit on their laurels. They sometimes do direct sequels. We've had that with like Mario Galaxy 2, for example. Yeah. But that was the exception rather than the rule, and it came out reasonably soon after the original Galaxy. Certainly not an 8-year gap or anything like that. And I think maybe that kind of like momentum may have been lost. They have very rarely just sort of like done the same thing again. Certainly with 3D Mario. I know New Super Mario Bros. That was a time period, to say the least. I think they've learned their lesson from that, or at least I hope they've learned their lesson from that, because that was I didn't like the new games, all things considered. They were fine games, don't get me wrong, but they weren't exciting for me. They just weren't exciting.
Any of them? None of them were exciting?
I never got the first one, which I think was the one I was most excited about. I never got that. So, no, none of them were really exciting to me. Apart from Galaxy, there's never been a direct sequel for a 3D Mario game. You know, Sunshine was a vast departure from 64. Then Galaxy, vast departure. Odyssey, vast departure. What are they going to do next? I think it's going to be something new, different, and I think it's going to be this year, because
yes,
it's the 40th anniversary, and the purpose of this video...
Imagine getting a new Mario Kart and a new 3D Mario. Oh,
that would be good.
Switch 2, it's set.
I mean, they've had enough time to build this up to be an incredible launch year for the Switch 2. And
I feel like that's what they've done.
So tight-lipped. Yeah. So tight-lipped. I think it's going to blow everyone's socks off, or at least I really hope so, because if it didn't, that would be a shame.
Yeah, then what have they been working on all this time? It really feels like they've been dragging out the Switch. I know it's not like... I know that, yeah, it's a long console span, but like back in the day, it would also be long with like the NES and then the Super NES. But it's just, yeah, it really feels like they've had their time to really plan it out. And so I'm just so excited for that direct April 2nd, where they're going to show off the console and hopefully also show off some of the games.
Yeah, it's good. I hope, because we don't know, it's going to be massive, but I hope it's going to be massive, and I have a lot of faith in Nintendo that it will be one serious direct. Whether we get some stuff about Mario's 40th in there or not, I don't know, but I can be certain, or at least reasonably confident, that we're going to see something about Mario Kart at the very least, and it'd be great if we saw some other Mario stuff as well. But I think for the 40th, we may have to wait a little bit.
What about the Mario movie? Do we know when that's coming? Have they said, was that also
that's
this
not this year.
Is it the year after 26?
I thought it was later than that still. I've got to be honest, I didn't rate the first one, so I'm not, finger on the pulse of when the new one's going to come out.
It says 2026. April 3rd, 2026 is the release date.
Well, I suppose they've already made the models and everything, haven't they? And Illumination loves to recycle things.
Yes. So we might see the new voice cast.
Maybe. That was such a trip when they announced the voice cast. Everyone was just like, what? And it turned out fine in the end. You know, the voice cast is one of the things I don't have an issue with, but, sort of at the time, it's just like, oh, we've got, I've forgotten his name. He's so generic. Chris
Pratt.
All I could think of was Chris Sutherland. It's more interesting.
Alex is joking right now. You forgot Chris Pratt.
I genuinely forgot the name.
The way you remember it is the pun crisp rat.
Oh, I just go with Pratt because that's a term in English.
Okay.
But that was so interesting when they announced that. It was just like, he's so cool.
Remember that video that came out then when he was like, in my early childhood, I love stamping.
Oh yeah, I love stamping.
It was such an awkward video. Anyway, we're getting slightly derailed, right?
Ever so slightly derailed, but that's the joy of videos like this. But anyway, what do you think is going to happen with Mario's 40th anniversary? Do you think it's going to be a year to remember, or 5 years to remember? Or do you think it's going to be a little bit muted? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. But for now, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you celebrate that subscribe button's 40th anniversary? Asterisk, not true. And be sure to check out NintendoLife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye. This light isn't particularly favourable on me at the moment and my beard, and it needs a tidy desperately. Looking especially ginger at the moment.
Yeah, it is. All right, then. Now we're ready. Let's go.
I've only done one side. Give me a second. Oh, God, this is...
I actually thought you were joking about, like, trimming. I thought you had a scissors nearby and it was like a practical joke.
No.
Oh, that's funny.
I never joke about my moustache, sir.